How many times have you thought about sending somebody a message on WhatsApp only to realize that it's the weekend or it's an odd hour and you should probably message them later, but then you never get around to it because you always forget? Well, this little WhatsApp message scheduler will take care of that for you. Now, anytime you think about messaging somebody, you can simply activate this AI agent, schedule a WhatsApp message using Google Calendar, and the AI agent will automatically send the message at the time you designate in Google Calendar. So let's give this a spin and see how this works. So I've got WhatsApp open here, and I've set up the AI agent so that it activates when I send a message to myself. So I'm going to go ahead and draft a quick message. I need to send. So it's asking for a contact. I'm going to go ahead and share a contact with the AI agent. And it's going to ask me for a confirmation. Everything seems okay. I'm just going to go ahead and hit yes. And I have a confirmation. So if I go over to Google Calendar, I should be able to see that I have a scheduled WhatsApp message to this individual. And I've also got the body of the message here. Now what's going to happen is that when it's time for this event, it's going to go into this part of the workflow. The Google Calendar event is going to trigger. That's going to go into the AI agent, and it'll extract all of the relevant details from the Google Calendar event and send a WhatsApp message using WA API. And once the message has been sent, it's going to delete the entry from the calendar so as to keep it nice and clean. So let's go ahead and figure out how to set this up. Now, I've set this up using WA API, and I've gone through how to set WA API up in a lot of detail in my earlier video, and I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll put a link up here as well for you to go ahead and watch that tutorial. So it starts with a webhook. Now, in order to set up the webhook, I'm assuming you'll already have a WA API account. So if you go under instances and click on the instance that you have created, and to create the instance, you have to sign up. You have to sign up for the paid plan, and the lowest paid plan is like less than $10. You can create an instance, scan the QR code using your phone, and that will set up WhatsApp and get everything ready to go. Next up, you'll need to scroll down here, and under webhook URL, that is where you will create a webhook here. So you can go hit the little plus sign, search for webhook, and that'll get a webhook going. The webhook has to be a post webhook, and this is the URL. This is a test URL, which is fine for testing, but once you make the workflow live, you will have to go back into WA API and switch it to the production URL. And really the only difference is that the test URL says webhook-test and the production URL says just webhook. Now, when you create a webhook for the first time, the path is actually only going to be this much or so. And what you actually need to do is go back into WA API, go all the way up, click on your name, go to webhook settings, and grab the webhook secret. Right, I'm going to have to reset this after the video is done, of course, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So we just go ahead and grab the webhook secret, go back to N8N. And after the path, you want to add a slash and paste the webhook secret. So you'll see that the actual URL is now much longer, and you're going to go ahead and copy that URL, make sure it's post, go back to WA API, go back to your instances, and you can paste in the webhook URL over here. Make sure that you have message and message create both enabled, and go ahead and hit save. And once that's saved, we are currently in the testing environment, so we can go back to N8N, and we can now listen for a test event. And the test event is going to be any message that you receive. I'm just going to send a message to myself because that's the use case that we're going for. So I'm going to open up WhatsApp. Let's just go ahead and hit hello. And we should see that we have indeed received a message. So all of this is ready to go. You can go ahead and pin that data in order to work with it in the next steps. Next up, you want to filter the data that you received. So we have received a lot of data here. We want to filter it to make sure that only messages that are coming from ourselves go through. And we've added another filter here. And this filter is just to make sure that when the AI agent responds to you, that doesn't get picked up by the webhook as well. So first off, you have the data id.remote, which if you scroll down here is this one. this field here. So this field is equal to your own number. This is my number in this case. You'll need to add what, and here you'll need to replace that with your number. You also, as an added check, you want to make sure that the from me is true, which means you are sending a message from yourself. And finally, the body of the message, which is this, right? You can go ahead and drag that over here. The body of the message does not contain this string. And we are going to give the AI agent instructions to add this string in front of every message that it sends. And that will effectively filter out any messages that the agent sends to us. And it'll make sure that only messages that we send to the agent are picked up by the webhook. So you can just set up this filter for now, and we will add those instructions to the bot later. So this will have to be does not contain. If we go ahead and hit test step, we'll see that it has indeed kept this output, right? And it has, because the message is from this number and it does not contain this string over here. You can click back out. And the next thing you want to do is go ahead and add an AI agent. So you can go back here, search for AI agent, add that into the system. And to that AI agent, you will have to attach an OpenAI chat model, or you can use any chat model that you're comfortable with. You can use Claude, you can use DeepSeek, whatever you want. I've just got OpenAI set up. So you can go ahead and click the little plus button here, search for OpenAI. You need to have your credentials set up. If you don't, you can click on this little pencil icon, grab your credentials from platform.openai.com and set that up. 4.0 mini is fine for this use case because we're not sending it too much data. So that's all fine. And we have our chat model set up, and we can just give it a few seconds just to make sure that everything is working fine. You'll also need to add some memory, because as you saw in the demonstration, this is a multi-step platform. So the AI model will need to keep track of what's already been said. Now, since this is a fairly simple AI agent, you can stick with window buffer memory. You don't really need to set up Postgres. So you can go ahead and hit the little plus icon under memory, select window buffer memory, and you will need to grab this variable from the earlier output. And in order for that to happen, you'll actually need to execute the previous nodes. And if we execute the previous nodes, we'll see that we do indeed have a instance ID under the filter, right? So we can go ahead and grab the instance ID and drag that in here, and that will result in this string over here. And that's basically what the memory is going to use to keep track of the conversation. And for the window length, just the default is 5, but just set it as 10 just to be on the safe side in case you have to send a couple of extra messages here and there. Next up, you'll need to add a tool. The tool is going to be a Google Calendar tool. So you can hit the little plus icon, search for calendar, click on calendar. You'll need to set up your credentials. And this time you want to, the resource is event. You want to create an event and leave everything else as the default. And since this is extra, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. And finally, the last step is going to be to add an HTTP request. So you can go back here. You can click the plus icon here, or you can add it from here and connect it later. If you want to search for HTTP request. Now, the HTTP request that we're making is going to be a post request, and the URL that we want to post to is the WA API URL. So that's a mouthful. So we can go back into WA API and head over to documentation. So now that we're in the WA API documentation, we can go down under API. We want to go to message, and we want to send a text message. Now, in order to send a text message, we need 4 different fields, right? So first off, you're going to need your API key, which you're going to add over here. So for that, we can go back into WA API, click on your name, go to API tokens, and you can go ahead and generate an API token over here. Once you create it, you will be presented with the API token. Make sure you copy it and save that somewhere safe, because it's not going to show it to you again. So once you have your API token, I'm just going to add any random strings here for now. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's fine. You also need an instance ID, which in this case is your instance here. So you can click on that. This is your instance ID. So we can go ahead and copy that. paste that in here. We also need a chat ID. Now, for now, we can just leave this as something temporary. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at c.us and .c.n. And c.us is the format used by WA API. The message string is also required. So we're just going to go ahead and just write hello there. And this is the request that we need to make. So it's a post request. This is the URL that we're going to make the request to. And you'll see that it has the instance ID in it as well. So we can go ahead and grab this, copy that, come back into n8n and replace that URL over here. Leave authentication as none, and we can specify the headers manually. So the header name is, the first header is authorization, and that's going to be bearer space your API key. Now my API key is exposed here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the key once I'm done with the video. Next up, we have a header called content type, which is application JSON. So we can come back here. We have content dash type, application JSON. And finally, we also have a header called accept application JSON. So we can come back. We have another header called accept application slash JSON. We also need to send a body, and the body is this over here, right? So we want to send a body. The content type is JSON. And make sure you're using fields below instead of using JSON, because using raw JSON sometimes throws an error with WA API. So let's stick to using fields below. Go down, and the first field is called chat ID, which we can copy, grab that and paste it over here. The next field is called message. Grab that and paste that over here. Now the value of the chat ID is the number that you want to reply to. And in this case, it's yourself, right? So we can either grab the remote or we can grab the from. Either of these is going to work. I've used it with from for now. So you can go ahead and click here, grab that and add it over here. And you'll find it under the filter node. And the body of the message is going to be the output of the AI agent. So you want to go ahead and grab this from here, click and drag it down here, and that'll be that. And once everything is set up, you can go ahead and just hit test step to make sure everything's working fine. If you hit test, you'll see that the status was a success. And if I open up WhatsApp, it should have sent a message saying, hello, how can I assist you today? So hello, how can I assist you today? Perfect. Now, if we go back out and let's check out the prompt that we've given the AI agent. So the AI agent is a tools agent. The source for the prompt is defined below, not a connected chat trigger node. And the source for the prompt is the body of the message that you sent from WhatsApp. So we're under body, data, message, and body. So we go ahead and click this, drag this over here, and that's that. And let's just quickly go through the prompt. So I'm basically instructing the AI agent that I'm going to draft a message, I'm going to send it to you, and the AI agent has to determine who I want to send this to and when I want to send it. And that I will reply to the AI agent with a contact or a phone number. Now, once I share the contact or the phone number, it has to extract the name and the phone number, and remove the plus sign, keeping the country code intact. And I've also added an important tag because ChatGPT sometimes messes this up. I'll also provide a date and time. Once it has the information, I'm going to tell we're telling the AI tool to use the message scheduling calendar to create a new event only after it has all of the details that I mentioned above, right? The event title should be scheduled WhatsApp message. Now, this is also very important because we want to filter what events come through into the next step of our automation. The description of the event should be as follows, which is the WA API address. Let's phone number with country code at c.us and the message body that I sent. Once the calendar event has been scheduled, reply with a simple confirmation of the event being created, saying done. And this is also important. And we're also telling the AI agent to make sure that every reply it sends has to start with bot. And this is the filter that we had created earlier, because if we don't have this filter, any reply that it sends is going to come back into the webhook and go back into the AI agent, and everything will get thrown into a loop. And we also want to tell the AI agent what the current time is, because the agent does not have any idea of the current time. So that all of that is set up. So that wraps up the scheduling part of the entire workflow. Now, the next thing that we have to do is the sending the actual message itself. So in order to send the message, we want to start with a Google Calendar trigger. Now, to set this up, you can go back, click on the little plus icon, add another trigger, and this time you can search for Google Calendar and on event started. So this workflow will be triggered every time a new Google Calendar event is starting. Now, obviously, we may have other events in our calendar which we don't want to trigger the workflow with. So we're going to set up a filter, and that filter is going to check whether that Google Calendar event is called scheduled WhatsApp message, which we had given instructions to the AI agent in the earlier workflow. So if you go ahead and execute previous nodes, so it's going to pull up a random meeting for now, but what we want to check is whether the summary of this is equal to this string over here, which we had provided earlier. So if the summary is equal to this, it moves on to the next part of the workflow, which is going into an AI agent. So let's go ahead and open the agent and see what the prompt is. Now we can execute the previous nodes to get information here, which we don't have. So as you can see, it has currently discarded. As you can see, the filter has discarded this event because this is a very old event from 2022. So just for testing purposes, I'm going to switch this from is equal to is to not is not equal to, just for testing, and we'll switch it again once everything is done. So let's go ahead and hit test step, and you'll see that it has indeed kept one item, and now we have this data in the next node to play around with. So let's go click back out, go to AI agent, and we'll see that we have the data here. So we in our prompt, we need to provide the Google Calendar event ID, which is the ID over here. And we also need to provide the Google Calendar description, which is this over here, right? So you can go ahead and click and drag both of these in here. And I've also provided a system message where use the data from the calendar event trigger and use the send WhatsApp message tool to send a message. Grab the chat ID and message from the description field. Again, this is mock data, so it doesn't have it. But if you use the earlier workflow, the description will have both of those pieces of information. From the description field, from the Google Calendar trigger, both are strings. Once the message has been successfully sent, delete the calendar event using the delete calendar event tool. Pretty simple. We can click back out. We need to add a chat model, which is we can just stick to OpenAI again, just the same way we did earlier. We don't need any memory here because it's just going to be one message and one simple execution. The first tool is going to be an HTTP request, right? Similar to the one that we had up here. And the tool we will require is send a WhatsApp message, which is an HTTP call again to the WA API. So go ahead and click the little plus icon under tool. Go ahead and hit HTTP request, and we can set up the HTTP request here. Make sure you rename it to send WhatsApp message. You add a description, send WhatsApp message. The method is going to be post. The URL is going to be the same URL that we got for the earlier workflow, which is this one here from the WA API documentation. Authentication is none. The headers are the same that we had set up earlier. You have an authorization header, which is bearer and your API key. You have a content type header, which is application JSON. And we do need to send a body as well. And we're going to specify the body using the fields below. And these are the two fields, this one and this one, the chat ID and the message, that the AI agent is going to extract from the Google Calendar event. So one field is called chat ID, and the value will be provided by the model and is required. So make sure you have this selected. This is very important. And the same thing goes for message. Now, just selecting this option here is going to let the model decide what that value is going to be. And that's all you need to do. You don't really need to provide any other instructions. And that's really the beauty of AI agents, that it takes care of all of these things for you. You just need to provide a very basic framework and everything else is done by itself. And that's the send WhatsApp message tool all set up. And finally, you also need a Google Calendar tool, which is going to delete the event. So the resource is event, the operation is delete. Make sure you've chosen the correct calendar, and the event ID is defined automatically by the model. So it's when you start this up, it's probably going to look something like this, or it's going to look something like this. You just want to go ahead and click this little AI button to let the model define this parameter, and the model will automatically pull the event ID that it has, and that is the event that it's going to delete. So this is a fairly simple two-step AI agent. The first step is to set WhatsApp reminders, and the second step is to actually automatically send the messages. And this is an example of where the true power of Anyden really shines through, where you can have multiple triggers in a single workflow, and both triggers can even work simultaneously. Now, my workflow is active, which means I can't use the test URL anymore. I actually have to use the production URL, and that's actually what I have set up in my WA API account. So I hope you found this tutorial useful. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like and subscribe for more AI and automation content.